A month or two ago, when I had the opportunity to be able to drive that, I had about a quarter of a tank of gas in it. I stopped to fill it up, $80 to be able to top off that tank. Here's the problem. I'm talking to a lot of moms right now that can't top off that tank. They're having to make that decision how many gallons to be able to put in because they have to still be able to buy groceries. They still have to be able to pay that electric bill, that gas bill, to be able to heat their home as well, to be able to make that mortgage payment as well. Is it an appropriate time for this country to do what the goal that Jimmy Carter set out in 1979, and I think he was correct, to be able to move to energy self-sufficiency in this country? When we see what is going on in the Middle East right now, Syria is in turmoil. Egypt, they're having conflict now between the army and the Islamic Brotherhood, which took over the government of Egypt. We're seeing rockets going back and forth across the Sinai Peninsula and the Gaza Strip. We've got a real problem. Iran is on the cusp of developing a nuclear weapon. They put their navy to sea. They're threatening to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. You've got something called the Suez Canal, where a lot of the world's oil flows through. Should America pursue energy independence? I believe we should. I do challenge the president. He applauded the World Import-Export Bank, guaranteeing better than a $2 billion loan for Brazil to be able to drill off of their shores. I hope you join with me. If we're going to make that kind of an investment, let's do it on American soil to develop American energy, to be able to put Americans back to work and to be able to create American energy security. To me, that is good common sense. The legislation that I put through, Planning for America's Energy Future Act of 2012, will help us be able to achieve that. Here on the western slope of Colorado, we have an abundance of public lands. Do we want to be able to develop these responsibly? I think we can. I think we can find those win-wins to responsibly develop resources and to be able to be part of the solution, literally, in this country. Our bill would require the Secretary of Interior to be able to put out a plan for responsible development of resources, and we include them all, because I think it needs to be an all-of-the-above solution, and we enumerate this in the bill. Wind, solar, geothermal, hydroelectric, oil, gas, oil shale, minerals as well, because that's an important component when we truly look at the world picture. We're importing 100% of our rare earths. We just all turned off our cell phones. There are some rare earths to be able to accomplish that technological feat. Should we develop those for our American security, our American economy, with American resources rather than relying on someone else? I think we should. We can do this in a positive vein. We can create win-wins in this country because it is critically important right now. We're facing a $15.8 trillion debt. A new baby this morning, born in Pagosa Springs, owes better than $50,000 as their portion of the national debt. $50,000 is their portion of the national debt. Before the end of this year, we will see the national debt rise to $16 trillion, and it will continue to multiply. We have to bring down this debt. We have to be responsible with our spending, and we need to be able to get Americans back to work. As I've traveled through the 3rd District, holding now our 47th town hall meeting, and with all of the meetings I've held with Chamber of Commerce's, just met with a small business here in Pagosa just a little bit ago, I continue to hear about overregulation out of Washington, D.C., increased paperwork, which is hampering businesses' ability to be able to invest dollars back into the business, to be able to grow the business and to be able to create jobs. I continue to hear about the impact of Dodd-Frank and small businesses' ability to be able to have access to capital. I've introduced legislation with Congressman Perlmutter called the CAMS Act to be able to create that access to capital through our small banks. Not the mega banks, but our local community banks, to be able to free that up as well. They're concerned right now about the President's health care plan as well. I'm concerned about it primarily for our senior citizens because I come from rural Colorado. I'm talking to people that just became senior citizens because of their birth date over the last couple of years. They can't find a doctor that will take Medicare. I'm talking to senior citizens right now that are seeing their health care costs go up. Businesses that have seen their costs go up. We can all embrace that concept of affordability and accessibility. but the legislation did not achieve that. The proof is in the reality in the faces of the people that I have talked to throughout the 3rd Congressional District and their real-life experience. We've got solutions ready to go, real bills ready to go to be able to approach this, in my mind, in a responsible way, to be able to bring those costs down and not allow Washington bureaucrats to be making medical decisions for the people of this country. We keep that between the doctor-patient relationship as well. So I've covered, I know, a lot of territory here fairly quickly in an overview, but I deeply appreciate you all taking the time to be able to be here, and I'll just invite your questions. So thank you. Yes, sir.
I'll go first. I'm Bob Milford. The question I have is I was a small business owner for 25 years, car dealerships in Houston. And I never really followed politics until sold my dealerships and moved to Pagosa for years. But what I've noticed is that everybody's just fighting. You know, everybody has solutions, and it looks like the country's just kind of split 50-50. You're real close to it, you know, on different sides. And like last year with that debt, you know, with the raising the debt, and it was crazy, wacky mess. What's going on in Congress? What's the solution to get everybody to compromise? Because that's really, to me, what's going to take. Because very rarely does both sides have, you know, 60% in the Senate and all that kind of stuff, get anything passed. But it seems like the representatives are passing, you know, legislation, but it stops in the Senate. Senate has stopped passing legislation because they know they can't get passed. But it seems like there needs to be a compromise, because that's what resolves the issue. Not everybody gets all their own way. I just want to know what your thought about that is, because sometimes I watch this stuff and they say, we want our way and we want our way, but nobody's going to really get their way. And now we got this fiscal cliff when this crazy, whatever they decided to do back last summer to put everything off, and everybody's just kind of waiting for what's going to happen to this fiscal cliff. And so I just want to know your thoughts on that matter, because what I see is just a gridlock, you know, where if everybody just gave it a little bit, instead of getting a room, they can solve these big issues.
You know, and I think that's an appropriate and a good question to be able to look at. As I noted, first of all, we've got to let the process work. Really let the process. And you just demonstrated, you know how the process works. We've got the House of Representatives, and we've got the United States Senate, and then we have the presidency. Those two branches of government, the legislative branch and the executive branch of government. Through the House, the better than 30 pieces of legislation that I mentioned, we did work together. We compromised. There was bipartisanship, and we passed them through the House. But when they go to the Senate, it has to be acted on. That's the way the legislative process works.
I agree with what you're saying, but I'm saying bipartisan, you know, is that 2 or 5? Because everybody seems to stick to those party lines so close these days. It's amazing. And so, does Boehner ever call Reid and say, hey, let's work together before?
You know, I think they did. Actually, they had an agreement.
Because I think they know before, I mean, these aren't amateurs here. They know before the fact if it's going to get to the Senate or not. Or the leaders used to